It is my honor to utter the four most powerful words ever spoken in a democracy. The people have spoken.
Oh yeah, the people have spoken, and Reverend Senator Warnock will return to the United States Senate. Thank you so much, Georgia. We know it was a squeaker, but you squeaked on through the right way. So over 1 million people in Georgia cast their votes yesterday. Ultimately, Senator Reverend Warnock had a majority of the votes. We are looking at this graphic right now, 51.4% to 48.6% for Herschel Walker. Again, very close race, hard fought both during the regular cycle in November and then in this runoff election. Very, very close, but indeed the people have spoken. And Senator Warnock went on to thank his mother. You know you got to thank mama, baby. Take a look at this.
I want to say thank you to my mother who is here tonight. She grew up in the 1950s in Waycross, Georgia, picking somebody else's cotton and somebody else's tobacco. But tonight she helped pick her youngest son to be a United States Senator.
Yeah, there's one he featured her in some of his ads. But you know, if you elect a pastor, Sky Daddy's gonna get a shout out. You're gonna get a little God, a little Jesus. It's gonna be.
You better say that, Reverend Warnock. How profound is that? I mean, he rapped in that "Know from whence you came" from James Baldwin. If you know from whence you came, there's virtually nowhere that you cannot go. His mama went from picking cotton to picking her son as the next United States Senator of the great state of Georgia. Jackson, that touched me a lot.
Yeah, and I think, especially when it comes to a state that's more traditionally red, we're seeing a really good man for the job help to transition more progressive policies into office. And I like how you started it out when we opened the show, saying that even though, we got to acknowledge first and foremost, Herschel Walker ran one of the absolute worst campaigns we've ever seen in our lives. But a win is a win. And one of the things that's really been a silver lining for me is just the realization that, my generation, millennials and Gen Z, are now coming into, as I've been saying, managerial age. So a lot of the change that we need to see isn't only being fought for by the OGs in the game, but also the people in the game who are getting weary. We're able to come in, and so I got faith for the future, because if one thing is true throughout history is that people overcome. That's what we do. So there's no reason to think otherwise now.
That is exactly what we do, and you're right. This was a generational fight, and it panned out perfectly in that state. It could have went another way. It almost did go another way, and we are going to take a look, and it's really great for Georgia. Ultimately, it's great for our country. The Dems now have 51 seats in that Senate, 51 seats, which is a beautiful thing. But however is just, hey, Herschel Walker he could have pulled this out. It was really, really close. Let's take a look at how many people actually in the great state of Georgia did vote for, Herschel Walker. I mean, he got those votes. So we are happy that the Reverend won, but let's understand this. Georgia is a divided state right now, and that's important to note. Our people are taking all these, we socked it to the GOP. That is not exactly how the numbers tell the story. This is a divided state, and thank God the divide came down on the right side. And remember how Fox News, so Warnock really dominated in early in-person voting and early voting by mail. People were determined to get out there and show their support for the Reverend Senator, and they did just that. But do you remember when Fox News fought against mail-in ballots for months? So they played themselves and their candidate. After years of attacking early voting, Fox News worries early voting attacks backfired for the GOP. You think? With the Georgia runoff election nearly over, Fox personalities reassessed their network's efforts to discourage Republicans from getting out to vote. How dumb can you be? No one should be discouraging their voters from coming out to vote. Whatever method the voters decide to use, they use. But just because you don't like the mechanism, you're gonna tell these folks not to come out to vote? Not very wise of you, not at all. And it just wasn't great on their part. So hopefully they have learned their lesson. We should be protecting and expanding access to the ballot box, not trying to dissuade people not to vote. Jackson, I just don't understand that strategy. And whether you're Republican, I ran for Secretary of State in my state in 2014. And one of the things that I said on the campaign trail is that I am going to should I become Secretary of State, I'm running to expand and protect access to the ballot box, and that's for all. That once I win that, should I have had the honor of being Secretary of State, I wasn't gonna be in there trying to stop other people's voters from voting. I'm gonna protect your vote, your right to vote, even if it is to vote against me. And so the fact that the Republicans were so arrogant and Fox News was so arrogant that they gave that message to their voters, I just can't believe it.
Well, I think, that's because you believe in the democratic process for humanity at large. When you see the world as your stuff being taken away, you're not really gonna be able to look at inclusivity in a positive light. But the reality is that before the Republican Party makes any type of change, they're going to pile down. And we'll talk more about the court case coming up and stuff like that. But that's what we're going to see first. So inevitably, we're going to have to double down as well.